Could Ultrakill's hell be more than just a place of torment? Is it a meticulously designed philosophical puzzle, inviting players to ponder the very nature of suffering and free will? Or have you ever stopped to consider the deeper meanings embedded within its fiery depths, beyond just the gore and glory? Join us as we unravel the unexpected wisdom found in this brutal digital underworld.
The layers of this palace are not for your kind. Not today. Not today.
In modern Christianity, God and angels represent hope, meaning, and faith. Hell, by contrast, is the bound space of punishment, eternal torment for the soul. This duality gives structure to moral law. Heaven is reward and hell is consequence. Ultrakill, however, presents a collapsed system. God is gone. The angels are fractured. Heaven is in chaos, and hell becomes more than just punishment. It becomes entropy incarnate. In this vacuum, order unravels. Power is taken, not given. The damned suffer not because they sinned, but because there's no longer a higher force to define sin in the first place. In Ultrakill, hell isn't the product of divine judgment. It's what happens when judgment ceases to exist. Suffering loses its meaning. Without divine intent, it simply is. In Ultrakill, you are V1, a machine built for war, descending into hell not for redemption, but for fuel. Blood, once symbolic of sacrifice and life, is now just a resource gathered and spilled, consumed. A tool of survival, a metric for success. But you see, this core mechanic isn't just gameplay, it's philosophy. It questions, in a world built on perpetual violence, where combat is the only constant, what does it mean to be evil? Can a soulless machine be condemned for doing what it was built to do? Or is it merely mirroring the world around it, an extension of hell's design? V1 doesn't speak, it doesn't question, it just moves forward, fast, relentless, brutal. But that very silence becomes a canvas for interpretation. Are we meant to project morality onto it, or accept that morality no longer matters here? There is a moment in Ultrakill where motion begins to feel meaningless, not because the game slows down, but because it never does. The violence escalates, enemies get stronger, music pounds louder, but the rhythm starts to blur. I want to explore that paradox, the way endless progress can become its own form of punishment. In the labyrinthine arenas of hell, every fight bleeds into the next. There's no moment of grace, no final victory, just a cycle. The enemies respawn, the blood flows, and V1 presses on. Not out of purpose, but because it must. Almost like a cathedral without a priest, and a prayer without a god. Here, Ultrakill invites reflection. What happens when effort is never enough? When progress doesn't lead anywhere? The machine cannot die, cannot rest, and cannot choose to stop. In that way, it is not unlike us. Always moving, always seeking, even when there's nothing left to gain. Hell in Ultrakill is not just physical, it's philosophical. The absence of divine presence means there is no absolute truth, no clear justice, no salvation. It becomes a mirror to modern life, where morality is increasingly fragmented, and the truth is often algorithmically tailored. We live behind screens, curating selves for approval, hiding others for survival, just like V1. We perform, we chase dopamine in loops, feed off conflict, engage in violence abstracted through entertainment, politics, or discourse. When stripped of connection, when absent of God or meaning, what's left? Is our suffering still redemptive, or are we just machines too, grinding forward for something we no longer remember how to define? In Ultrakill, divinity is essentially a rumor. Heaven is fractured, corrupted, and militarized. The angels, once saviors, are now aggressors, obsessed with order in a world that no longer justifies it. Gabriel, once a biblical messenger, becomes a violence enforcer, upholding a law that has lost its author. Famous philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "God is dead, and we have killed him." Ultrakill dares to explore what happens after, in this world. Power doesn't stem from righteousness, it stems from strength, speed, brutality. Without God, justice is not inherited, it is imposed. But what rises in the place of the divine? Machines, programs, rituals, bloodlust. Every figure in this hell, from mindless husks to elite warriors, seeks power in the absence of meaning. And perhaps that's the final irony. In trying to fill the void God left behind, hell became the most honest place in the universe. What lies at the bottom of hell? Not revelation, not salvation, just more hell. Ultrakill ends not with closure, but with escalation. Every victory bursts another enemy. Every descent just leads to another floor. And V1 keeps going. Why? Because that's what it was made to do. The question then shifts, can a machine gain freedom through repetition? Or is freedom the ability to stop? To choose differently? V1's lack of a soul might make it purer. It cannot sin, it cannot repent, but it also cannot change. And in that way, its torment may be greater than ours. Because we can change. We can choose not to descend, not to fight, not to consume. And maybe that's what Ultrakill is really offering. A horrifying clarity that the scariest hell isn't the one filled with monsters, but instead it's the one that looks like our world, but never lets you rest. We've spent this time in the layers of Ultrakill's hell through blood, steel, and silence. We've seen a world without God, where violence is the only constant, and where the machine never stops moving forward. But this isn't just about hell. It's about what we carry with us when we leave it. Because even if V1's descent is endless, ours doesn't have to be. We choose our loot. We decide what's worth chasing, and what's worth letting die in the dark. And that's something the machine will never understand. And maybe that's the only thing that keeps us from becoming it.